When Jacob fled from his brother Esau and came to the house of his uncle Laban in Haran, the hand of God was with him in every step, though his stay there was filled with both hardship and blessing. At first, Jacob arrived at Laban's household with nothing but the clothes he wore and the staff in his hand. Yet God began to prosper him even in a strange land. Laban welcomed Jacob into his household after learning he was the son of his sister Rebekah, and soon Jacob agreed to work for him. Out of love for Rachel, Laban's younger daughter, Jacob committed himself to 7 years of service, which passed quickly to him because of the depth of his affection. Although Laban deceived Jacob by giving him Leah instead of Rachel on the wedding night, God still turned Jacob's situation into blessing. Jacob agreed to work another 7 years for Rachel, and thus he gained both wives along with their maidservants, who later became part of his household. Through these women, God began to fulfill his promise to make Jacob into a great nation. Leah, though unloved, bore Jacob's sons, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, who would become the heads of important tribes in Israel. Rachel, who at first was barren, eventually bore Joseph, who would later save Jacob's entire family during famine, and Benjamin, the youngest son. Even the maidservants bore children on behalf of their mistresses, adding to Jacob's growing family. In this way, his household multiplied greatly, and God's covenant promise to Abraham and Isaac began unfolding in him. Beyond children, God also blessed Jacob materially during his years of labor under Laban. At first, Jacob tended Laban's flocks faithfully, and Laban admitted that he had seen how God prospered him on account of Jacob's presence. Jacob's honesty and diligence brought increase to Laban's household, so much so that Laban desired to keep Jacob with him. When the time came for Jacob to return to his own country, Laban pressed him to state his wages. Jacob, under divine guidance, proposed an arrangement that seemed to favor Laban. He would take only the speckled, spotted, and dark-colored sheep and goats, while the pure-colored ones would remain Laban's. Laban thought this would leave Jacob with very little, but God intervened. Through Jacob's careful management and the mysterious providence of God, the flocks bore abundantly in Jacob's favor. The stronger and healthier animals became his, while the weaker ones went to Laban. Thus Jacob's possessions grew until he became exceedingly wealthy, with large flocks, servants, camels, and donkeys. Even when Laban repeatedly tried to cheat Jacob by changing his wages multiple times, God protected Jacob from loss. In a dream, the Lord revealed to Jacob how he himself ensured that the flocks multiplied according to the promised agreement. God's blessing could not be hindered by Laban's schemes. Jacob himself testified later that if God, the God of Abraham and Isaac, had not been with him, Laban would have sent him away empty-handed. But instead, God saw Jacob's toil and the affliction of his heart and rendered judgment in his favor. Jacob's stay in his uncle's house also deepened his awareness of God's providence. Though he faced deception, rivalry among his wives, and years of hard labor, he witnessed how God remained faithful. His household grew, his flocks multiplied, and his name became great. By the time he left Laban's house after 20 years, Jacob departed not as the empty-handed fugitive who once arrived, but as a man enriched with family, servants, livestock, and the clear evidence that the blessing of the Lord was upon him. Through all these events, God demonstrated that his covenant promises would stand firm, no matter the obstacles or the actions of men.